So, how does the transmission come through? Is it something that just represents a contact within the mind? Do I see something visually? Do I hear something within my mind? The answer to all of those is yes. Everybody has a certain way of being able to interpret the information as it comes through. The information can simply result itself as thoughts. It's simply new thoughts that are coming into your mind that you never thought were there before. And you're trusting those particular thoughts to come through and placing them down on the paper. Depending on how deep you can go within a relaxed state of consciousness, there are also times when one person's hand may involuntarily move, being able to move involuntarily, simply because there is an energy that is working together with them in a very deep state of consciousness, often referred to as the theta or delta brainwave states, where you almost feel like you're very, very groggy or just about ready to go to sleep. And that can be a time to where your hand is basically just starting to move in different directions. And sometimes it can form the idea of words, sometimes it can form the idea of a symbol, or what have you. But again, that is quite rare for many of the people that I've worked with. 9 times out of 10, the people that I work with are indeed conscious-based channels, which means that they don't need to go so deep to start receiving information. It's almost on the point to where you feel that you are immensely focused, just like you were studying for an exam, for homework. Or very much similar to the idea that you're going off into a bit of a daydream state. You're not really conscientious of the world around you. You're just moving into a bit of a drift. And in that state of drift, you're allowing this information to come through. So your focus is basically being, quote unquote, in the clouds. So you're not paying attention too much into your environment. You're just allowing the focus pertaining to the transmission to come through. That again can represent the idea of an alpha or a theta state form of channeling. So however this needs to come through, be it through thought, be it through clairvoyance, through the ability of psychic sight, being able to see vision, sometimes being able to hear a voice within the mind, actually being able to share with you information. Everybody has a different way of channeling altogether. There is the feeling of clairempathy as well, being able to detect the feelings that are coming through and allowing feelings to translate. Again, looking at the thought represents the idea of claircognizance, the feeling of instantaneous knowing. Again, many different opportunities here pertaining to interpretation. However it needs to come through, just trust, again, the feeling that you're getting at the time. Let the energies just take control of your hands, so to speak, and just start writing the words as if they were becoming themselves, allowing the words to become life within itself. This is often what's known as flow. This is representing flow within channeling. And that in channeling, when you start to go in flow, it's that your own conscious self isn't even aware of what you're really writing. It's not even aware about what's coming through relating to a transmission. A transmission is basically just flowing itself through your hand and writing itself down on the page. The words are becoming themselves. This is very, very similar to the type of spontaneity as if one were to get up on the stage and just start all of a sudden belting out a speech that came completely out of nowhere, yet it captivates the audience. That's again one particular example. A person in that sense who can freestyle rap, for example, is again just that kind of raw flow that's coming together. Spontaneously singing, spontaneously dancing. Again, all different types of interpretations of channeling. So again, automatic writing is just helping you to gain more of an understanding that it is possible for you to channel, to going into this extension. You may feel that you have done automatic writing enough, and you may want to pursue other particular forms of interpretations pertaining to channeling. You may want to have a blank canvas directly in front of you, have your paint, and then just start to feel that these energies are therefore painting the canvas. That can come later on. But right now you're just getting an interpretation about how your own being wishes to communicate with you. That can relate to the state of drawing, that can relate to the state of writing, that can relate to the idea of being able to sing, whatever it may be. So continue to practice this. Continue to look into the idea of having your diary, of having a piece of paper in front of you, getting yourself into a very relaxed state of being, keeping your mind completely neutralized, and allowing yourself to come to center. As you come to center, feel free to invite that energy in and allow the energy to communicate with you. If you have been successful in making a contact, then you're able to start moving more into a question-based direction pertaining to the channeling state. You may notice that there are certain questions that you may feel nothing in regards to your conscious self can really answer, and so you may want to impose those particular questions relating to the energy that you have discovered. And just allowing this conversation to come through in any way. You may have that simple question of saying, why have I decided to come here on planet Earth? Question mark. And then just giving yourself that state, that chance again to neutralize, go back into that state, and allowing the information to come through as it needs to. Many different possibilities await, but it's very important that you are allowing an interaction between yourself and between the energy to come through. This is basically telling you that there is something here. There is something you're talking to. There is an energy that is able to interact and respond to the questions that you want to ask. It may also be very surprising to know that this energy may even start to ask you questions as well too. There's all kinds of different possibilities here. Well, you know what? There's always the possibility that in channeling, maybe I'm just going to encounter this really kind of vile and vicious and malevolent type of energy, and I'm scared to death to channel. Then don't. That's the best way to put it. If you feel that you are personally uncomfortable in the ability of channeling, or if you feel that there is something within your mind that is still anchoring in that particular type of fear, of feeling that if I go ahead and channel, what if I bring in this kind of demonic entity? What if I bring in this type of demonic energy that's coming through, parasitical energy, etc., and it starts to take me over? I can't say that, oh, that's never going to happen, because it certainly does have the capability of happening. If you feel that there is a fear that is really, really pulling on you and feeling that you just don't feel comfortable in channeling, then you do not have to. So the whole key here is firstly for you to resolve that particular fear. That fear needs to be transcended before you even attempt channeling. So again, this is something very, very important. If you are fearful of channeling, please do not channel. Not until that energy, that particular feeling of fear, has become transcended. Once you are able to do that and you feel that there is a love vibration that you're bringing through a lot more strongly, an energy through the heart that is opening you up, and you're really starting to understand the connection to expansion, and you're feeling this loving energy just completely saturate with you, then that's a good sign for you to continue to channel. But again, if you feel that there's any kind of fear or any kind of anxiety, that you really don't feel comfortable in doing this, you do not have to. In fact, I recommend that anybody who have these particular types of fear don't even consider starting to channel. It's very, very important that you become very centered, very neutralized. Beings like this do exist. There are parasitical energies. There are demonic entities. That does happen. We live in a very, very wonderful, amazing universe that is full of great deals of light and great deals of darkness. So you are basically deciding what it is that you want to move into. There's white hat channeling, and there's black hat channeling, right? So all those simply represent different forms of energies, and it's all about what you are able to attract to. You are no different than a magnet, and a magnet can, again, attract certain forms of shadows, and it can attract certain degrees of light. It's all about deciding exactly what you feel is appropriate for you to explore. So if you are at all fearful of negative entities, of any particular entities that wish to do you harm, please do not channel. This is my highest recommendation. Not until you have been able to work with that particular energy, harmonize it, and bring yourself into a state of grander feeling that serves you in regards to love. So what is a very, very important aspect as you still continue to develop yourself as a channeler? You want to learn how to ground yourself. So basically meaning that as you start to relax yourself, go into neutral mind, really bringing yourself into that state of clarity, that you're also allowing your energies to be grounded. So what this means is that, let's say that my hands here are feet. When we're crossing our feet here, when we're channeling, this actually creates a short circuit. And so we're not looking to actually cross our feet when we're starting to channel. We want to keep our feet completely firm on the ground. Very similar in martial arts, that is somewhat similar to the idea of a horse stance. Doesn't mean that your feet have to be very, very wide, but you're keeping them together. You're basically keeping them hip width apart. The reason being is because you want to give the interpretation that your feet are fully planted on the ground. And just imagining that the complete fullness of your foot is anchoring out, all these particular forms of tendrils that are moving deeper and deeper into the earth, like roots. So the more that you can just keep your 2 feet placed centered on the ground, fully on the ground, and just imagine that these energetic roots are just starting to spring out of them and starting to move deeper and deeper into the ground and connecting with the heart of the earth, the core, the center of Mother Earth herself. This is really just allowing these energies to come through and flow through you as well as your surrounding environment, because it's not just you that's receiving this energy. Your entire environment is becoming bathed in this energy that you are attracting through the channeling state. You're becoming a pyramid. So as you're becoming a pyramid, the energy is flowing through the apex, and it's flowing through like a fountain, and the entire environment is becoming enriched. And it goes deeper and deeper into the ground, the more that you can align yourself to grounding. Grounding also indicates the idea of being present, of being in the present moment. Not feeling that you are still very much spaced out or feeling kind of floaty in the way that other thoughts are trying to intrude. You're keeping yourself completely grounded, completely centered here and now. So let the energies pertaining to grounding really just start to feel like you are being cemented into the ground with 2 very strong legs, 2 very firm feet that are being planted on the ground fully and allowing these cords, these roots, to move themselves into the center of the earth. This is what's going to help you to again anchor in those energies as it comes to the top of the crown chakra, flowing all the way out through the body, down to the bottom of the feet, and just starting to create this fountain effect of beautiful, loving, harmonious energy. The reason why this is important is because, again, your sacred space is the anchor. You're creating an anchor for this particular type of energy that you're channeling. So when you always come back to this space after doing numerous exercises of channeling this energy, it's now starting to feel very, very comfortable. You're starting to feel very relaxed. You're bringing in these higher frequencies of energy, and it just feels great. It's an amazing feeling. This is something that I have done personally when channeling Adronis, really just making sure that the environment is comfortable to me, allowing that energy to be completely in resonance with my joy, and just letting that energy flow, becoming like a pyramid. Practice, practice, practice. Not to sound like a broken record here, but it's very, very important that you continue to practice on a daily basis pertaining to channeling. This is where you are gravitating yourself into a reality that reflects the ability for you to expand yourself in these extensions of consciousness, and you're now starting to live your life in accordance to what you are receiving. So continuing to practice this is a very, very high recommendation. Should you decide to go a little bit further, that you want to move into vocalized channeling, etc., this usually is not recommended without actually having somebody in front of you, having another particular person who is instructed in being able to know how to channel themselves. So automatic writing and inspirational writing is one thing, but if you actually want to get more deeper into practicing vocalized channeling, I would not recommend this until you have somebody with you, a teacher, a facilitator of channeling. The reason being is because there is a very advanced calibration effect taking place. But as far as practicing goes, work together with your own channeling journal, with your own diary, and continue to work together in that particular type of space. Vocal channeling is kind of a larger ballgame. It does represent very strong similarities to inspirational writing, but it does have certain forms of conditions for you to be aware of. So before you decide to go into vocal channeling, it is highly recommended through this video, through myself, to seek out an instructor and look into developing your vocal channeling abilities through the facilitation of a professional channeling instructor before getting into that. So again, there's a lot of things to consider in that. But again, continue to work into your automatic writing, continue to work into your inspirational writing, however you want to phrase it, and just continue to let that develop. As you develop, you'll start receiving some really interesting information coming together, all kinds of profound insight. Channeling is just helping you to understand more about your own inner universe. It's helping you to connect much more deeper into your inner being. But there are discretions. There are particular forms of conditions that you want to keep in mind to allow channeling to giving you the most successful, loving, and absolutely profound state possible. For more information pertaining to channeling, please feel free to contact me, info@consciousmatrix.com. Thank you so much for watching this series of Introduction to Channeling. I'm Brad Johnson, the Reality Whisperer. Feel free to check out the website, realitywhisperer.com. Thank you so much for watching. Take care. Namaste. And may channeling bring you the most wonderful, beautiful, and profound experiences imaginable. Take care.